Hey, everybody. Welcome to a special Saturday edition of Real Pastors. We are very excited to be doing this one today because it's something new that we hadn't done yet. And it's something that we had talked about doing even when we started doing this channel, I guess a year ago now. And we wanted to truly be able to look at some movies and movie franchises and see how can they be a little better. But before we continue digging into that, let's bring in the other half of the Real Pastors, Sir Gary Hall. There he is.
I got it. I got my tool bag here, ready to hammer down some stuff.
Yes.
To, get under the hood and fix some things. So
That's right.
got it. Oh. I just want to show the world that I do have tools. Makes me feel like a man. Don't use them much, but they're here.
But they're there. Yeah, and we are here because we are now doing a new segment called Real Pastors Fix, where we're going to be looking at movies that had a lot of potential but dropped the ball, or movies that are part of a franchise where they had everything they need to be successful, and they weren't. Maybe they tried to do too much. Maybe they didn't do enough. Maybe they're being cheap. Either way, we're going to be looking at a bunch of different movies when we do these segments and see how we would fix these movies. And what we would love for you guys to do is, as you're watching, comment along, let us know your thoughts, and then maybe how you would fix the movie we're talking about for the day.
Yeah, it's a great thing about movies. Great thing about movies, books, whatever, because everyone has an opinion, everyone has thoughts, and everyone, no matter what, even the greatest of movies, people have opinions on. So this is the segment where Efren and I go under the hood and see how can we tweak some things to make it how, in our opinion, once again, is our opinions. Take it or leave it. Share yours, as Efren said. And how would we fix these movies?
So to kick us off is one that I know has been just like, I don't know anyone who actually liked this movie, but we are starting off with Real Pastors Fix, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And this is kind of like what I said earlier was sometimes there's a movie that's a part of a franchise, right? And there is zero reason why this movie was not good.
Yeah.
Like zero reason. Like this movie should have been fantastic, just like the ones before it. And you had a formula, you know what worked, and you still dropped the ball. And that was one thing that left a lot of fans of the Indiana Jones franchise, like myself and Gary, just kind of like, what happened here? I don't know what's going on. So this is the one we're going to tackle. And I know, Gary, how about you give us first your just initial thoughts after you watch this movie the first time?
Okay. Well, I've been doing a lot of thinking as we prepare for this episode. I did a brief rewatch, haven't finished the rewatch because my kids are crazy. And the day I was going to rewatch it, I kept my 2-year-old nephew. And but I've seen it several times, so I have a lot of thoughts in here. Yeah. So I love this franchise. Indiana Jones is one of my favorite characters of all time. Raiders, Temple of Doom, Last Crusades, not only one of my favorite trilogies, but 3 of my favorite movies of all time. So needless to say, in the summer of 2008, I was very excited for this movie. And like a lot of people, I left feeling disappointed. So what I've been thinking a lot on is, okay, let's look at this movie from a different perspective. Do I not like this movie because it's cool not to like it, or is there problems with it? And I think what this movie suffers from is, okay, you're talking 1989 was when Last Crusade came out, with 2008. What, almost 20 years waiting for this movie. Spielberg and George Lucas, Harrison Ford, the expectations were huge for this movie. Right. And then what we got is, and honestly, in defense, I think that build with this iconic character, it was going to be hard for that long to hit a home run, honestly. But I want to say I don't hate this movie. If you remember our Jurassic Park episodes, how I just tore into Jurassic Park 3. This is not going to be that kind of episode. However, I do have some problems with this movie, and I think. Do you want me to go into the problems now, or do we?
Well, I guess I'll just kind of give my 2 cents here real quick too. It's just like what you were like. I agree with everything that you had said, and here's the thing that killed me too is they even had Kate Blanchett in this movie as a villain. They brought Shia LaBeouf, who, like myself, I'm a fan of Shia LaBeouf, but at the time when this came out, he was almost in everything. He was like, he was the A-lister to grab into things that people were showing up at movie theaters to watch. So, and then you brought back original cast members. So you had this perfect setup for this thing to just be the 4th installment of an amazing franchise.
And Spielberg was directing.
Yeah, Spielberg directing.
I want to say one thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, please go ahead.
To just go on my hype for this movie, I bought the poster for this before I watched it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what happened to it. I lost it in a move, but that's how excited I was for this movie. I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy it. It's going to be good. It's Indiana Jones, right?
Right. Same creative team for the most part. Same creative team, same director. Steven Spielberg, Lucas, still working together on it. George Lucas, that is. I mean, it pretty much the same setup. And so, but we'll discuss more into it, just some different ideas. But just so everyone, I guess, can understand, storied history, great history with it. Everyone loves it. I mean, you had, when it first came out, you had him, Harrison Ford, coming off of Star Wars, right? Like, just so much that has been great about this franchise. So, of course, this coming out, all these actors, everything, this should have been a home run.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it should have been a home run. I'm not saying it was a complete whiff. I think, like you, it's not a completely horrible movie, but it maybe hit a double at best, when you expected a home run. Keeping up with some sports analogies there. But,
hey, I like it. Baseball, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, at this point, I guess, Gary, if you don't mind, I would like to just kind of get some nitpicky things out of the way that I have.
Oh, go for it. Yes.
And even as I rewatched it, one thing that drove me nuts was all the green screen and the sets and everything. It just looks so fake. And what drove me nuts about this is because we're talking about the same creative team that made Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
In 1993. Right? And this is what was 2008, is that right? Is that right?
Yep,
this is 2008. There's no reason why it should have looked that cheap. And so that was something that just completely drove me nuts from the beginning of it.
And that is one of my gripes as well. I'll chime in, and I have a list here on my phone. Not a long list, but what I can't figure out is because I went and watched some YouTube videos to kind of fresh my mind on this. Some other viewers, Chris Stuckman, I watched his video on this, and he claims that majority of this movie was shot on location, like on set. So that was one of his gripes too, of how clean it looks, how CGI it looks, but it shouldn't. You got the gophers, stuff like that, and it's like it just doesn't.
Or even when they were at Area 51, it looked like they were on a studio set. It didn't look like they were anywhere.
And that was one of the gripes and I've always thought this about this movie before, but then I saw other people talking about it, is it looks very clean. It doesn't look like an Indiana Jones movie. If you go back and look at Temple of Doom and Raiders, and it's like they're very gritty. Like Temple of Doom, he's got, one sleeve cut off, he's got the sword, it's just iconic stuff. And then everybody, but this whole movie just looks like, I don't know, it just doesn't look like an Indiana Jones movie.
It was like they were trying to look like an Indiana Jones movie. Yeah. That makes sense. It's like, hey, this is how these films look. Let's try to make it look that way. It's like they had artificial grit, if that makes sense.
That's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
That's what it looked like they tried to do, and it was just like, but then it kind of felt like this clean film noir thing, which was just like weird for Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it doesn't mix well.
Yeah.
And it was almost like they were trying to. Hey, this is set in 19, but remember, this is 2008. Look at all this new stuff. And Steven Spielberg he's all about film. He's all about, that look. So it's just kind of puzzles me that this is kind of what we got from it, Yeah. Because it does not look like Indiana Jones at all, in my opinion.
It does not. And I will say, like I said, I would gladly say that is, when we try to actually dig into fixing stuff, because I want to really dig in, which I'm sure like you do, the plot and things like that to make it better. But it was just at face value, nitpicky or not, that was like the biggest thing for me. I'm just like, it's just hard to watch it because it just looks so weird.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very bright.
Yeah.
Bright movie. It's like,
yes. Yes. It was very weird. Everyone looked weird in it because of it, except for the indoor scenes. Any scenes where they're indoors, it looked normal. It looked actually really good. But anything outside or moving, it just didn't.
Yeah.
Just
Question for you.
Yeah.
Can a refrigerator save you from a nuclear blast?
Okay. I thought about this while watching. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If because they went out of their way to show it is a lead lined fridge, right?
Yeah.
So they went out of the way for that. Okay, let's just assume that fridge can withstand the blast and he could survive in it. I highly doubt he survives flying past a car going 60 miles an hour, who knows how many hundreds of yards, tumbling down the mountain. I doubt he survives that. That's the part where I'm like, no.
Yeah, so I'll put that in the nitpicky section because we're talking about a character who jumped out of an airplane in Temple of Doom on an air raft, and landed in a river with Short Round and the annoying lady and was fine. And we're talking about people's faces melting. So, it's an Indiana Jones movie, but something about Indy in a fridge, it just
it doesn't sit right, does it?
I mean, and you look at the beginnings of these movies and then, how iconic they are. And then this is the beginning of this movie, a gopher, and he gets in a fridge.
Yeah.
All right. I remember sitting there like, okay, I guess this is Indiana Jones. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah,
oh, no, he's getting in that fridge. Oh, he got in the fridge. He's in.
All right, then. That's what he's doing. Yeah, I know. So it was one of those things. Now here's one thing, I guess, before we get into the meat of this is question for you. Do you feel they did things like that to be cheesy on purpose?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe and this is something I want to give credit to Chris Duckman. It's not my idea, but he said that it kind of came across like they were purposely trying to make, while the original movies, the three were like the serial adventure homage. It was almost like this movie was trying to be like the B sci-fi movie. You know what I'm saying? Like they were purposely trying to do that, but it just didn't really land.
Yeah, it didn't land good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and so I guess those are our nitpicky little things that we had. But really the bigger problem, and I think you agree with this, is just a lot of the story, how they handled the characters. Again, they should have been a home run, but they mishandled a lot of the character stuff. The story itself, even the purpose of existing in this story. And let's go ahead and put this out there. We're talking about everything. If you haven't seen this movie, it came out in 2008. You're going to get spoiled if you watch this whole thing.
You can pick up your Indiana Jones Blu-ray set.
There we go. I need that.
Beautiful collection. Wait, because there's an awesome 4K edition coming out soon. So yes,
it'll be a part of that, I'm sure.
Yes.
But so go pick it up, go watch it, pause it, come back, whatever. But we're going to be all over this thing. So here it is. Spoilers.
Yeah. And it's worth watching. I think, I don't want to speak for Efren, but I think you agree. We want people to have their own opinions. Don't just take our word for it. Go watch it and come back. If you disagree with us, chime in. Don't be mean, but chime in. That makes it fun,
Absolutely.
But watch stuff for yourself, please.
Yes, please do. This is just, again, two fans who wish it was something a little different. So I guess maybe we can start digging in here a little bit into the things we would actually fix. I know. I guess I'll go ahead and start us off, Gary. I know one thing to start it off is, I'll be honest. Honestly, the very opening scene of this, where the Russians come in, break into Area 51, and then they pull Indy out of the trunk of the car and stuff. I'm like, all right, right there. I was like, this, even though it looked terrible, this feels very Indiana Jones, right? Like all that was good. And then the second that he started throwing the gunpowder in the air and the magnetized stuff, and at that point I was like, wait a second, this feels way more sci-fi than it does adventure and like Indiana Jones. And I know at that point is where I was like, okay, I'll kind of go with it. And then once they bust it open, you see the little alien hand
Mhm.
and stuff, and that's honestly where I started to check out. And I think that's my first thing that I would fix is I would have chosen a different, I guess, story, but just something different for him to be chasing after.
Yeah.
Because you had the Ark of the Covenant, you had the Holy Grail, and you had oh dear heavens, now I forgot.
The stones.
The stones. You had stuff that are actually like at least built in reality, right?
Mhm.
And so it makes the stories a little bit more believable. But now we're talking conspiracy theories, aliens, exactly. And now so I'm just like, I feel like that was the point already where they messed up.
Yeah.
And I know for me to go ahead and fix this, like you need to choose something that was a little bit more real. Now I know they tried to bring in El Dorado and stuff, but again, legend, myth, lore, like it wasn't anything where there's any kind of evidence. But to me, if you wanted to stick with that storyline, I say get rid of the alien stuff, stick to just El Dorado.
Yeah.
I feel like if they would have stuck to just we're trying to find the city of El Dorado, I think that already would have been a much better setup for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And so the original three, and people have problems with Temple of Doom, but I happen to love it because it's the first Indiana Jones movie I saw, so it's sentimental. Right. But every item, there was stakes to it. You didn't want the Nazis to have the Ark of the Covenant. You didn't, these stones that these people lose in Temple of Doom, it was their livelihood. It was their, and then they find out that their kids are being kidnapped. And then the Holy Grail, the Cup of Christ, you know what I'm saying? Like these were like big items. And then it's like, what? Like an alien head that looks like it was from Kmart. And it's like, then I just didn't feel any stakes either. You don't really care as much as the other ones. And I guess it's maybe not fair, but you have nothing else to compare it to. Like these adventure movies, like the original three, and I'll throw like something like the Goonies in. You cared about the adventure. This one, you don't really care.
Yeah.
It's just more like, oh yeah, we like that character. What's he doing? Wait, what is it? Why does he have a plastic alien head that looks ridiculous? You know what I'm saying? And it's just,
yeah. And I think you're onto something there when you're saying everything had stakes, because like it does. Everything did have. If somebody else found that item, they could have done something to the world. They could have messed things up, right? Or they could have been a world power. Something would have changed. And in this, they tried to do that. They tried to do that with, we can have the greatest power that we know, the power over the mind. And it's just like, even then, like you're dealing with something that's not tangible, really, like something you can see, feel, touch. Where again, if you like what I was saying, if you go back, if it was just El Dorado, can you imagine the stakes if a country finds a complete city made out of gold and how wealthy they would be, what all that could bring to them. Like, so like even that, again, if they would have stuck with just that would have had higher stakes than chasing this weird, like this weird mental game. I forget the word, telekinetic skull stuff. It was just like, what is happening? And it almost felt like even Harrison Ford, while doing this movie, was like, this is complete garbage. Like,
you notice it throughout, like watching things, like the way he delivers lines. And I love Harrison Ford, but we both know when Harrison Ford, kind of like Bruce Willis, doesn't care. Yeah, you can tell. Like once again, what's that line? Where is it? You're a teacher, part time. Yeah, it's like just barely, like he's just kind of going through the motions because it's like, what is this? And it almost. I don't want to be too harsh on it because I don't hate it, but I guess I sound like I do. It almost seems like Indiana Jones fan fiction. Like, what if Indiana Jones was chasing aliens? Yeah, let's make that movie. And it's like, no, I like what you're going with, like sticking with El Dorado. Yeah, that would fit more with the character, Yeah. Like,
and with the past three that we've had, it would have made more sense.
Stick with the mythical stuff, the adventure, the travel, the treasures, but leave space
the legends.
Out. Yeah, we don't need you doing that.
Well, because that's the thing is you have myths and legends, like you're saying, but then you have conspiracy theories. Yeah, and that's to me is where Indiana Jones was never a conspiracy theorist. It was, hey, here's all these myths and legend. I think they could be true. Let's go find out. And then of course there's someone else who believes the same thing, and they're at odds
Mhm.
because if they find it, they're trying to use it for their domination, power, whatever,
Mhm.
money,
Mhm.
whatever. So like you have these two people going at it, and then, of course Indiana's the best at what he does, so he's
Yeah.
always the one that is in the middle of all this, which makes sense. And again, like you said, El Dorado, it would fit.
Mhm.
It would have fit the character. So that's
Mhm.
for me. That's the first thing I would fix.
Yeah.
Is leave out the conspiracy alien stuff. Stick to El Dorado.
Mhm.
And if I hope you can kind of tell what I'm doing here, Gary. I'm
I
trying
do.
to stick with what they gave us
Yeah,
and see how they could have done it better.
I respect that.
Because
This
I don't
almost feels
completely
like a prequel to Independence Day.
yes.
You knew then, and you did
I know.
nothing. Sorry.
That's probably what should have happened. They should
I
have
know,
had
right?
Indiana Jones
We find that out.
94.
Oh man, Jeff Goldblum's dad. It's just like simple. Oh
Yes.
man, they want HBO to call you. I don't know why I'm talking about Independence Day. Sorry. Anyway,
Right here.
what I would
Aliens.
pick.
That's right.
Do what?
The aliens. That's
Aliens. Yeah, staying on theme. You guys know, if you're watching us a lot, Efren knows this. I'm big on character development. I love The Last Jedi because of Luke Skywalker's old age character changing. I think to fix this a little bit, kind of play into that with Indiana Jones, play into the fact that he's older now. Make that part like the main story. Like he's wrestling with the fact that he can't do the things he used to do. He can't, he's tired, he's grizzled. His dad's passed away apparently. They kind of hint to that. Sean Connery, maybe have him wrestling with that, a little bit, and maybe him dealing with moving on with the next stage of his life. You know what I'm saying? And how I would go about doing that is realizing, because they bring back Miriam, played by Karen Allen. I love that character. I love that they brought her back, but make that the center of the story. Maybe kind of redoing what they did with Last Crusade, where he's looking for his dad on his adventure. Like, what's his dad doing? Maybe he's trying to find Miriam to be like, look, it's going to sound kind of cheesy. You're the one that got away. We're getting old. Let's settle down. But wait, what are you doing? Like, he's trying to find her, and that puts him on the adventure. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I love that story of a hero, a vulnerable hero. Absolutely. That's one of the best things about Indiana Jones is he's not this unstoppable. He's just a guy that gets caught up in things, and he almost gets beat a lot. But that plus getting older, I think that would be a very interesting story to tell.
Yeah. And even to add to those stakes, like one thing that I hate, and so many movies do this, and it drives me nuts. It's the whole surprise, he's your son thing. Like I hate it when movies do that. Yep. I think it's so stupid, especially movies like this where they're trying to pick up a popular franchise. And of course, it's in the realm of possibility he has a son, but he doesn't know. Like, I'm just like, I feel like, what if instead he has a son, he knows he has his son, and maybe his son is following in his footsteps. And since his son is following his footsteps, he's proud, but he's also struggling with the fact, like we had that one scene where like they're kicking him out because of what's going on. Well, how about instead they want to kick him out because his son is just as good, if not better than him. And so now you have a little bit of family tension where the son, he could just be trying to make his dad proud. Because let's be real, Indy can be, grizzly and kind of old man Clint Eastwood style. So he's trying to make the old man proud. Yes, you can have him and Miriam divorced or whatever. You can have that whole thing, but you can have it even as him, like he's seeing his son starting to upstage him. He feels like he still has a lot left in the tank, and then that could also be part of looking for Miriam. That could also be part of his like motivation to where he's trying to still prove himself because he wants to show the school and everyone like he's still the top, he's still the best. And even though it's his son he's competing with, and he's proud, but at the same time he's like, I'm not done yet. You're not telling me what I've done, I'll tell you. And that's what every old person goes through. I'll tell you when I'm done, not the other way around. And so I feel like that could have added more layers, a little bit more family dynamics instead of just this, oh yeah, I'll help you, kid, and all of a sudden, he's your dad. You should have gone to school. And it's just like, it was so lame. And then
that would have been a very interesting way to do it. And plus, like, why would that be a surprise? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't he know? I don't want to think of Indiana Jones as a deadbeat dad. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. And it kind of flipping and putting him through what his dad went through in Last Crusade, kind of putting him through that a little bit. Like, it's a new generation. Now the tables have turned. He's
Right.
got a son, and he's running around going, Junior,
Yeah.
I know. But yeah, that's good. Absolutely. And I think the other thing about this movie is there's a lot of characters like you don't really care about, and they're kind of lame, like that one guy who is always tagging along. I think he's on the poster there. I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, he's on the poster.
But he's always flipping back and forth, bad guy, good guy, like whoever, and it's just like not an interesting character, nothing about him.
Yeah, we're talking about this guy right here, right?
Yeah. He just that character just annoys me. There's another guy. Yeah, there's another guy. I can't remember his name either. This just explains like why I just don't care about him because I don't know their names. But the like crazy old professor who is like on the adventure, it's like I don't really care about that.
Yeah, I know, but like he was there to be the crazy alien guy.
Yeah,
because he got this vision, he's writing everything, so he now has the map. So essentially, like he's the map. That's really what it is. And I think that's the hard part. Is the old man is the map. He's not anything real that you're going to attach to.
Yeah.
Which is, and here's the thing, it's like, and here's what people need to understand is there are some movies where the characters, they just serve the plot and you move forward and it's fine. But when you're in a franchise like Indiana Jones that relies so much on characters and character development, like you have to continue that kind of thought process. You can't just drop it for the fourth one. No. And I think that's where it makes it difficult because you don't feel like you're really on a journey with Indiana. You don't feel like –
No, you don't.
Like, you don't. You don't feel like you're growing with him or anything like that. It's just, all right, here he is again. Have fun. Like that's what it felt like.
Yep. Or is Harrison Ford has got a fedora. He's Indiana Jones. Is he really? Yeah. And like I said, it's not as bad as like a Die Hard 5, where it's Die Hard name only. It's just something just off about it. I remember what I was going to say now. I lost a train of thought there. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I kind of think they should have went the route of The Force Awakens a little bit. Long time in between stories. Same here, 20-some years. What did Force Awakens do? It kind of played the hits to reintroduce you into this world. It didn't try to do something new. They did that with Last Jedi. It was like, remember this world, remember these characters. Here's a few new characters. Here's a story. I kind of wish they would have done the same thing here, like bringing us back into this world, playing the Indiana Jones hits. Here's a little sprinkle of something new. And then if they want to do another one, try to mix it up a little bit. Maybe not aliens, but I think they just try to do way too much. Maybe maybe fixing it. Just turn it down a notch. Reintroduce us, play the hits, get us back, and then maybe try to do something different.
Yeah.
So
introduce us to the new characters that are going to take us on the journey. Introduce us to that, because that's the thing. It's like if they would have followed kind of the story, like at least the character stuff that we're talking about, they could have very easily set it up to where at the end of this thing, Indiana and Miriam, they get remarried, whatever. They walk off into the sunset, and then you really do feel like they tried this, but it didn't work. But you really do feel like you have this handing off of the torch, this passing of the torch to Shia LaBeouf, to his son, to say, it's yours, man. And then from there, it's wide open. You don't have to tie to anything. You could continue you could have a whole nother trilogy, like after this one. You could have that was the fourth. It ends Indiana Jones. Now you could even have a new trilogy with this new Indiana. And it could be totally, into a different realm of things because that's who it is. And I feel like that's what they should have tried to walk through with this while they're looking for El Dorado. And they could have had the Russians, because sure, the Russians want the gold. The Russians are, at this time still trying to, they want to be the world power, right? So they would want control of this place. So you could still have this fun adventure that you're going through everything, and with these guys trying to get there first, so they could have all the gold and therefore have more power, because this would be more gold than any country has or something like that, right? Gotcha. So they could be the world power. And you can still have that, but then you have this dynamic with the three of them as a family trying to grow through all this, because they all have their growing pains, right? You have Indiana, like you said, dealing with the fact that he's old and that it's time to move on, it's time to relax, while also trying to, be proud of his son, but like don't push me out, man. Son is trying to be I'm going to make dad proud. I'm going to show him that I can do this. I can carry on his torch, and then something with Miriam. I don't know what to do with Miriam, quite honestly, but other than the fact of like just bringing the family back together. But But if he's searching for her, I guess there's not much there other than once he finds her, trying to make amends.
Yeah. So. I mean that just makes a more interesting story, and it promotes things going forward. And I'm not exactly sure what they're planning because the fifth one's coming out in the next couple of years. They're making it now, I believe. And
they're still casting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I think there's rumors that might be the direction they're going to push things forward with, but yeah, there's just a few things to tweak here, and there's some good things in this, I love the callback to him hating snakes when they throw the snake as the rope, and he's got
rope.
Yeah, color rope. I like that. I think the fire ants is pretty cool. That I don't like the gophers and I don't like the Tarzan stuff. And that's kind of weird, but it's not. Yeah. It's not an awful movie, but of the four, it is probably the one I revisit the least.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because it is. It's one of those, like, if you're trying to have someone watch all of them, then of course you watch them. But it's not one that you're itching to get back to.
Yeah.
Because even the whole like this drove me nuts. But when they talked about the wealth of El Dorado was never the gold, it was the knowledge. And it was just like, but what drove me nuts about that is they never even set that up. Like they talked about all the time about having power of the mind, like telekinetic power, right? So they can control people. And then at the end, it was knowledge. Where did you get that from? From looking a few hieroglyphs? Oh, it's knowledge. You didn't build up. You didn't earn that moment. You didn't earn that line.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I would fix is if that's where you want to end, right? Like if you let's say they take aliens out of it. Let's say you have El Dorado instead of being, the place of gold. It's honestly this place of knowledge, right? They have all these different artifacts. They have all these books, all this everything, and then when they get there and they start reading, and you spend some time there, maybe you have a conflict with the Russians because they're like, wait, where's the gold? It's not here. And then he starts to explain, listen, this is what we've read, this is what we found, and then you can kind of earn that line a little bit more, like that. It was knowledge, if that's where you wanted to end, because you could tell that was their zinger, and it was like that. You didn't earn that at all.
No, I think that you putting that well. It's got stuff like that's got to be earned. Absolutely. So Efren, can I introduce a new segment within a segment?
Sure, why not?
So I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Uh-oh.
So what we're going to do, I just thought of this, so we'll see if it works or not. So we're going to switch off every time we do this. I'm going to ask you a few questions that you do not know I'm going to ask, and just off the top of your head. Okay?
Okay.
And it has to do with this movie.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Put you on the hot seat. All right. Okay. Do you think this movie would be better if it wasn't an Indiana Jones movie? Like if it was just take that character out, put somebody else in, and it's just a sci-fi movie set in the 50s. Do you think it would be better? Or is it just not a good Indiana Jones movie? Does that make sense? What do you think?
I think it's a lot more not a good Indiana Jones movie. I feel like if they had a completely made-up character, because you have nothing that you're tying it to. So if you have a completely made-up character, I still think some of it, like I would still hate I didn't know this was your son angle, stuff like that. But I think it probably would have been better if I'm introduced to a totally new cast, totally new characters.
Yeah.
And then because there's nothing, it's just a new made up story. So they could have it. Who cares? There's nothing. There's no standard to meet.
Gotcha. Yeah, those are my thoughts exactly. What is your favorite Indiana Jones movie?
My favorite's still the first one.
Raiders.
Raiders is still my favorite.
Yeah, I've wrestled with that many years, but I got to go Last Crusade, and right under that's Raiders. And Temple of Doom. So,
Raiders was the first one I watched, so I think that's why.
Okay. Last question, and this is a big one. Okay, you ready for this?
I'm scared. Go ahead.
Kingdom of Crystal Skull or Rise of Skywalker?
Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull, man.
Yeah.
I I have a very, very small love for Skywalker. I can sit through Crystal Skull a lot more and a lot easier than I can Rise of Skywalker. Let's put it this way. I watched in the theater with you.
Yes.
And normally Star Wars movies, I go back and see them in the theaters at least twice. Did not do it with this one.
Me neither.
And then, I bought it on DVD because I'm just like, or Blu-ray, because I was just like, I got to have the collection.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it once again, and I got through it, but I haven't watched it since. I just had zero desire. So this I will actually watch, and I can at least find some enjoyment in it.
Yeah. Same. Yep. I just want to throw that at you there. Yeah, because it's not Rise of Skywalker bad. It's not Jurassic Park 3 bad. But end of the day, it's just not a good Indiana Jones movie. So, boom. But I think we fixed it.
Yeah, and I think that shows people that how I think this movie gets a lot more flack than it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, like if I think of like if we try to do Jurassic Park 3. Or if we try to fix that one day, or we try to fix Rise of Skywalker, I feel like these episodes would be like 2 hours long.
Oh yeah. Rise of Skywalker, it involves a complete rewrite.
Yes, a complete rewrite. Yes. But the thing is, if you want the Rise of quick fix. If you want the Rise of Skywalker ending and result, you need to earn that by Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and then that. And anyways. So there you go.
Yeah.
Quick tidbit for whenever we decide to do that, because that'll be a big undertaking.
That is going to be a lot. Yeah.
Yes. So this one, here we are. I mean, we're about half an hour maybe. And honestly, like I feel like with those few changes, other than making it not look so cheesy, I feel like if we made those changes, this probably would have been a really good Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
On par with the others.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. Well, thanks for going into the shop with us. We have hammered and drilled. I just wanted to show my tools again. So
I don't blame you. Toolman Gary.
Hey. But yeah. So comment, let us know, how would you fix it? And also the other thing, anything you want us to attempt to fix, comment below.
Please do tell us. We will. Hopefully we'll have seen whichever one you think we should fix, and then we will try to do so. I think this was a good one to start off because it wasn't a whole lot to fix, but at least it gives you, be able to rewire our brain to think this way, but then also get everyone kind of into the idea of the things we want to do.
Yeah, this wasn't a transmission issue or redo the engine. This was maybe a little oil change the filter.
Yeah, tune up maybe.
Tune up, yeah. A little tire rotation.
Change the spark plugs. Yeah. Little things
just open
like
the shop, But yeah. So, but there's going to be some other movies we tackle in this segment that get your hard hats out because it's going to be a big job. Hey, Katie.
Yep. Gary says hi. Okay. So, there's a wife. About to go do something, I guess. So that's what we have. And as always, subscribe if you haven't yet. Share with your friends. Turn on the bell. Hit that like button. Please, the YouTube gods. And let YouTube know you want to see more of our videos. And we have plenty to fix. We have plenty to explain. We have plenty of thoughts, reviews, things coming. So make sure you do all those things so you don't miss out on a single video of your favorite pastors, the real pastors.
Yes. Thank you for going on this adventure with us.
Indeed.
It belongs in a museum.
Oh, yeah. We will see you guys next time.